Is this thing live yet? Yeah, there we go. I gotta read this thing before I do anything else. Introducing in the red corner, weighing in at 204 and standing at 5'11", the undisputed heavyweight Flair champion of the world. That was cool. Big appreciation for that. Welcome. If this is your first time joining or watching this in the playback, we have a lot of fun here. What we do is do a daily market recap. We do a wellness check. Normally I start the stream sitting down, but I saw that in the in the intro chat. I wanted to have a little fun with that. Gotta close the window. So what we do is we recap the market. Today is Tuesday, January 27th. We do a wellness check. We're going to go over the crypto market, silver and gold. We'll talk about stocks a little bit. We'll talk about the bond market a little bit. And this is going to be like an overhaul, comprehensive wellness check for the market, see where things are going. From there, we branch out into various topics. We might go to Twitter. We might see what's, going on in the buzz. I heard some rumors that the Clarity Act might have a vote going on today at 3 p.m. I don't know if that's substantiated. You know how Twitter and Facebook, those different social media apps, there can be a lot of rumors. Hard to get substantial news on that, but we'll take a look. And then finally, you guys asked me for it, so I did set up a YouTube tip jar. We'll try that out later on in the stream. For now, I want to address all the good morning chats, and then we're going to dive straight into it. So good morning, Kristen. I appreciate that. That was pretty cool. What's going on, Scorpio? What's going on, Aquas? I was about to say your real name, but me and Aquas went to college together, so always happy to see my buddies hopping in this. Good morning, Rydog. Good morning, Steph. Good morning, 1964. So, interesting things have happened in the past 24 hours. I'm going to dive straight into it this morning. There we go. So, interesting things, starting out with CoinMarketCap.com. I want to take a quick look at Flare, because Flare is one of the few tokens that has actually done surprisingly well this week. So, as we all know, big sell-offs, Bitcoin's down, XRP's down, all the major players are down. But Flare, on the other hand, down a slight bit this morning, but we're hanging out over a penny. So if you were watching last week, we know that Flare got down into the 0.009s for a brief moment, then kind of rallied back up to about a penny and a half, in that half range. We can see it kind of peaked out here at a penny and 6/10. This is all really great stuff, because it just goes to show that there is some support behind Flare beyond just following the Bitcoin cycle. And we're gonna be doing my Flare video very soon here. I didn't realize that I comboed up my ski trip with my Flare mini-series launch. So I'm going to try to shoot that Sunday night and get it out for you guys, hopefully before midnight. Otherwise, technically that video series will go live February 2nd, but I'll at least have the tokens in on February 1st. That part won't be a problem, but you know how it is with shooting videos. This is a one-man band, so I'm shooting the videos, I'm editing it, I'm making the thumbnails. So sometimes the overhead can actually be pretty time-consuming. Gonna hit my coffee slurp real quick. Hopefully it's not as loud as I'm getting better at it. Good morning, Ben, and good morning, Daniel. So, feeling great about Flare. Very excited for its upside. Some of our other favorite tokens have taken a little bit of a hit. The entire rally that Quant had basically wiped out. So if you weren't aware, in the past, let's see here if these dates are lined up right. Yeah. January 17th, so a little over a week ago. We're kind of in that 2-week territory. Went from 72, peaked out at 86. Well, now we're back down to 73. So 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. Welcome to cryptocurrency. I'm still very excited for this coin, and I'm looking at this thinking, if there was a time to grab another token, maybe this dip is it. I'm adding it to my dollar cost averaging strategy. It's probably going to be my least focused token out of the coins that I am focusing on. But the fact that it made it into my list at all is a pretty good thing for quant. You guys know my top 3: XRP, Flare, HBAR. So, whatever your targets are, even if you hit your targets, you could always just expand, your bracket there and just keep on going. Or you can diversify a bit. We did a video yesterday that it's doing very well, by the way. I'm very happy with it. The ISO 20022 video, which you guys can check if you haven't checked it out yet. It's on my channel. It's my latest video. This guy right here, this is basically a cheat sheet that you can use. Any of these coins on this list are going to be very good buys over the next couple of years. Even some of these smaller ones that, I don't have any ZBEC, but I know that some people like it. I don't have any Casper. I don't have any Electro or Metal, but there's something to be said for some of these. I mean, let's just take a quick look. Metal only has a market cap of 21 million. So if you think that this token has a long-term future, kind of try to imagine what it would look like if this token got to a $1 billion market cap. Every coin starts from somewhere, right? Some of these low cap coins are pretty popular for that reason. This coin looks like it launched about a year ago on January 27th of 2025. So, this token's only about a year old. If you look at some of the long-standing coins in the game, even Quant's a good example of this. If we hit the all chart and we go back to 2018, Quant started out at 30 cents. Now Quant's at $74. So if you were looking for some early entry plays, I could see something like Metal Blockchain. Again, I don't actually have any of it. Oh, it looks like my chart was wrong. I didn't have it set to the right settings. So Metal did launch in 2022, and looks like it was launched at $1.55. This is pretty standard with ICOs. This is why I almost never participate in them. You start high and then you kind of crater. But the point being, this coin hasn't had any forward momentum yet. So if you're looking at a deeper play that maybe you hold on to for a few years, hoping to get that Solana level pump, there could be some value to picking up some Metal Blockchain. By the way, everything on this channel is purely my opinion. We're a research channel. This is not financial advice. I'm not a licensed professional. So make sure to do your own research yourself before making any purchases. But with Metal Blockchain being part of the ISO list, that's a very good indicator to me that it has a long-term future. And same is going to go for the rest of these. Even looking as deep down as Casper, I noticed there was Casper in the comment section yesterday for that video. We're looking at a $61 million market cap. So, these are some of the deeper plays that you can make. This is a relatively older coin, launched in 2021. Again, you can see the ICO creators. That's just kind of how this goes. But you can grab this now. It's basically never been cheaper. And so you would really only want to be buying these tokens if you truly believe in the future of crypto, because these would not be like, I wouldn't be getting into these if your goal was to flip coins. And you see that a lot in like the meme coin space, Pump.fun, Pepe Coin. There's all people day trade on those. I would not be day trading on a token like this, but I would consider this for a deeper play. If you see over here on the right, the community sentiment is very bullish. So the people that do have Casper really believe in it. And those are always good indicators. If there's a strong community behind a newer token, it doesn't mean everything, but it's certainly a factor. But of course, you guys know me. I love my Flare, my Quant, HBAR. HBAR's got a $4.5 billion market cap. So been in the game quite a while. Interestingly enough, though, HBAR's not actually... You don't really have that much growth. If you were getting into HBAR way back when it launched in 2019, by the way, look at that ICO. Starts high and craters. This is just sort of a cautionary tale in case you ever want to get into an ICO. It's very interesting to me that a coin with $4.5 billion in total market cap hasn't seen that much long-term growth yet. What does this tell me? By just purely off the market cap alone, this tells me that this is not a retail coin. And we know there's a lot of partnerships out there already with HBAR. One of the big ones is the U.S. government. So we know that they're involved with air traffic control. They're handling AI. There might even be other military applications that HBAR is involved with. And I don't know about you guys, but oops, I didn't mean to click that button. How do I undo that? That was I accidentally voted on this thing. Anyways, I wouldn't bet against the U.S. government, especially the U.S. military. So looking at HBAR, if they're partnered up with our own U.S. government, to me that is a bull indicator that this is a very, very solid coin. Durrell says, I don't think I've ever seen an ICO take off once it's publicly launched, and some IPOs do the same. Right there with you. I don't really like IPOs either. Really for the same reason. An interesting one to me is Monad, because Monad, am I saying Monad or Monad? It's probably Monad. This one, you know, it didn't actually, if you want to really get down to the brass tacks here, it actually ICO'd and went up before going down. And then it hasn't really, like when we talk about coins cratering, Monad hasn't really cratered it. I mean, it's down just like everything else is. But this one seems to be doing okay as far as ICOs go. Now, this is kind of like the Coinbase darling. If you guys have Coinbase and you were using Coinbase in November and December, there was no way that you missed Monad. They made sure that almost any screen you were on Coinbase had a clickable like bubble that would send you to the Monad coin. So this is one that I'm curiously watching. I don't necessarily know if it's going to do well. It's definitely going to be a competitor to Ethereum and Solana, which kind of tells me that it could end up being used as a casino coin. And if you guys know me, I'm just really not into the casino tokens. It's not something that I personally am getting involved with. But that's just me. I'd love to hear from you guys what you guys think about that. Sorry if the coffee slurps are a little loud there. Working on it, I swear. But this is interesting stuff. I know that some of you guys have been asking. I guess we'll give this a shot. I'll at least throw it up here. Let me make sure that I've got it right. Yeah, here we go. So I did make a YouTube wallet tip jar. This is totally optional stuff. If you guys don't feel comfortable with this, definitely don't do it. but some of you guys did ask for it. This whole content creation stuff is you kind of figure it out as you go. So I don't know how to necessarily have this QR code up yet for like the whole stream. But it is here. I guess I can at least pin, dang it. Come on, you little bastard. Let me, there we go. I just need to be able to copy and paste this. So this is the tip jar, and I'll just kind of put a comment in the chat. XRP tip jar. Don't feel pressured to do this. This is just for the people that really said I should be doing this. I'll put that up there, and then maybe somehow, some way I can get a QR code version of that on the screen. That way you're not typing all that out manually. But this is an empty wallet, so there's nothing in there, at least as of yet. You can see, you know, I got 0 XRP in that thing. So maybe we could have some fun with it and keep the tip jar as kind of like a running tracker, just to sort of like keep score of how we're doing as a channel. But we'll see. I definitely don't want anyone sending me XRP if they're not comfortable with doing it. It's just it's something that some people have asked for, so I went and made it. I'll probably have to tinker around after the stream to see how to get the QR code to show up on my own screen. There's all these little tricks that you got to learn how to do. It's not as intuitive as you would think. You kind of have to figure all this stuff out on your own. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. Looking over at some of our major coins, you know, Bitcoin is kind of really riding this $88,000 to $90,000 range here. I'm really hoping that we decouple from Bitcoin this year, because it is unfortunate that we only really seem to do well when Bitcoin's doing well, and I think a lot of that has to do with trading algorithms. So I've heard other people mention this. It's hard to actually prove this, but it's believed that the reason the market follows Bitcoin is because there's trading algorithms. I guess a simple way to put it is like AI buyers and sellers that are buying all these other tokens based on what Bitcoin's doing. So it's not even a human doing it. It's all computers and machines. So that's why you kind of see, like, if Bitcoin tanks, everything else seems to follow, and usually with the same chart patterns too. I'm hoping that we eventually can move away from that, but we'll just have to see how things play out. Other coins that seem to be doing pretty well, Canton. I don't really trust Canton. I know some people like it, but the problem I have with Canton is that JP Morgan, if you really are in like the conspiracy side of things, which I guess maybe I'm a little bit conspiracy adjacent, but Canton being a JP Morgan coin, I just don't really want to side with the banks if I don't have to. And that doesn't mean that I don't think this one could do well. I'm saying that in spite of it probably doing well. That's kind of where I'm at with Canton. I'm not really sure if I trust. And it kind of came out of nowhere, right? Like, this coin's not that old. November 10th is when it came out, and it's already at a $6 billion market cap. So clearly there's things going on behind the scenes that have really propped this coin up. Whether or not I trust it is another thing. And a good point is you can't even get self-custody of it. So if you can't get self-custody, to me that just really defeats the whole purpose of crypto to begin with. Not saying that you couldn't buy it, but I'm skeptical of it. I'm not sure that I really trust it. I want to kind of move on to our precious metals market because nothing too surprising here, but here, let me get this thing open. Silver's moved down to 108. Not that surprised by that. Hold on, sorry guys. I closed the tab and there we go. Down to 109. If you are, I don't want to say living under a rock, but just in case you didn't know, yesterday silver hit a crazy all-time high of $117. And silver's been moving faster than meme stocks move. So very normal to see some profit taking here. I don't know if anyone's exactly surprised by this. But I hope that you guys weren't. I don't think that you guys were. But I would hate to hear that you guys bought silver at $117. When stuff like this is running up, you know, it's awesome if you're already a holder. This is the range where I would no longer be buying. Like, in fact, if I zoom this chart out, really, I wouldn't think about buying silver above $60. And I think it's fantastic for the people that bought it down here in these ranges where, you know, you're at $40, you're at $50. Around $60 is the range where I start to wonder, is this too good to be true? Like, can this last? And sure, it's been going and it's been going. The higher up you go, this makes me nervous. You could buy silver at $110, and if this thing crashes, you might never be made whole ever again. And so that's why, you guys know, I like, you know, if you had to say, are you gonna buy silver, or are you gonna buy flare? Well, you guys have been checking in every day. No, Flare's about as low as it's ever been. So I look at it as an opportunity like this, where it's like, okay, Flare's as low as it's ever been. I can stock up on this now. Silver's as high as it's ever been, like in the history of modern society. I mean, geez, if I go to the all-time chart, you can see that silver is, this doesn't make sense. This isn't sustainable. And I think when this thing comes back down, there's going to be a lot of people that get burned very badly by it. Now, of course, people that are already holding silver, it's not going to burn them as bad because they've probably got very low entry costs. But, you know, I just can't justify buying that right now. And that's not financial advice. That's just my opinion. Forbidden Planet says, they say for silver to equal the value of the high it hit in 1980, it has to reach over 200. Yeah, and, you know, there's something to that, right? Inflation is a big part of this. So you also had to start to unpack other ideas, like, is silver necessarily rising or is fiat currency crashing? And I think that we're seeing a flight from the US dollar, but not just the US dollar, because, okay, for example, this silver chart is for US ounces, but if I duplicate this a couple of times, you know, if we look at silver yen, oh, sorry, that was Euro Japanese yen. If we look up silver yen, we have, here we go. This is what we wanted. Their chart looks basically the same as ours. Now let me make the parameters the same so that we can go back and forth. So this is right here is US dollars, and then this right here is Japanese yen. So the two charts look, essentially they're identical, right? So this tells me it's not just a US dollar problem. And I know we just looked at two currencies, but let's pull up, let's see, what do we got here? I'm going to duplicate one more tab. You know, let's just look at silver versus the pound. So we got silver versus the Great Britain pound. probably about the same, right? Let's see what that one looks like. So here's silver against Japan against United States. So basically what I'm saying here is everybody in the world is moving on to silver and gold right now. It makes you really wonder, is any of this organic? The market cap on silver, I believe, is somewhere around $6 trillion right now. To put that into reference, that'd be 3 times bigger than Bitcoin. I don't think retail investors like you and I are able to move silver quite like this, especially considering the fact that silver and gold are still probably, I would say, fringe products, and that you have to really be into investing to be buying silver and gold. Most people are going to do the path of least resistance, which will be opening up a Robinhood account and buying stocks. That's just the reality of it. To own silver, there's extra steps, there's extra hoops you have to go through. It's not as intuitive. You know, you got to decide, am I going to get paper silver? Am I actually buying the physical coins? It's a smaller market is what I'm trying to get to there. And I don't think a market that's small, I'm not saying it's small, but for retailers to be able to add $4 trillion to silver over the past year and a half, I don't buy it. I think a lot of this is global. It's like a global economy, global, I don't want to say one world government, but I do think that it's almost like a grand conspiracy, and I hate to use that word, but is there some sort of agreement going on between nations that they're all stockpiling silver for some reason? And I know silver is used in electronics, you know, that's all good and fine. But I'm not certain that, you know, EV batteries would cause silver to spike, you know, 250% in 1 year. I'm just not personally buying it. And so I'm wondering, you know, and I'm not saying I have the answers here, but I guess I'm just asking the questions. What is actually going on right now? Because what we're going through one way or another is unprecedented. Like, this has really never happened before. And one of the followers on the channel sent me something this morning. The SLV, I think it's an ETF, SLV. Yeah, iShares Silver Trust. I believe he was telling me that this has one of the highest market caps of any security that you can buy. So right here, I don't know if you guys can see this on your side, but let me see if I can zoom this in. Sometimes when I start zooming the screens, everything gets all screwy. So right here, market cap on this ETF is roughly $40 billion, which is quite a lot for one ETF to have. This is concerning because, sorry, I had something in my eye. This is paper silver. You know, you're not actually buying physical silver when you buy an ETF like this, which means you can't redeem it for silver. It makes you ask the question, and I'm not making accusations or anything like that, but do these ETFs really have the silver that they claim they have? And the reason that's important is because if anyone who has a paper silver stock, if they try to cash that in for physical silver and they all try to do it at the same time, we might find out in a very ugly battle that some of these exchanges might not actually have the assets that they say they have. And I'm not accusing them of that. I'm saying it's a possibility. And it's something I think about. If you guys remember a couple of years ago with the AMC stocks and the GameStop, the Robinhood app shut down, right? So looking at this, going back to 2021, if you weren't around back then, GameStop went from $1 all the way up to $81 in the span of like, geez, I don't know. It had to have been like 2 weeks, maybe. Maybe a little bit longer than that. In about a span of a month, GameStop went up about 2,000%. And so people on Robinhood were trying to sell their GameStop, but they couldn't. So you're holding onto this stock, you see it in your portfolio, but you can't sell. And then sure enough, by the time the app is working again, it goes down to 40. So main point being there, when you have stuff on the exchanges, it makes me wonder, when those exchanges stop working randomly during a major sell-off, is it because they don't actually own the asset and they're putting it on paper hoping that you never find out they don't actually have your money anymore? And that's something that I get very concerned with, very paranoid with. That's why I keep all of my crypto on a cold wallet, or in some cases a hot wallet. But the important detail there is, once you have an asset off the exchange, whether you're getting physical silver coins or in our cases in crypto, having it on a cold wallet, then it's truly yours. You know, if you can go to, I know all of us live in different spaces, but if you go to your basement and you got mason jars, or if you got like a Pelican bulletproof case filled with silver, that's your silver. You know, they say that custody is 9/10 of the law. So if you have this stuff, then you're a lot better off than, for example, having paper silver and then you're not able to cash it in. I want to see if TradingView has a better chart of GameStop, because that was a pretty interesting time. You know, I've been kicking around some ideas, and maybe this idea will become its own video. And then I'll catch up with the chat here in a second, but I want to kind of get this point off before I forget. If you remember, if you were a part of this GameStop culture back in 2021, the whole idea was, the motto was monkeys strong. So if you were a GameStop holder, you were a monkey, and all the monkeys were stronger together than if they were alone. Now, usually investing is a single player game. So what I own, what you own, doesn't really matter on a team-based level. We're all playing this as a single player game. I wonder if XRP might be one of the few times where we're back at this GameStop level where it's actually a team effort. And here's why I think that. Hold on, I gotta open the window one more time. It's like 10 degrees outside, but it's about 80. I'm absolutely sweating like crazy right now. So let me unpack that idea. So I am suspecting that you can call them elites or the institutions or whatever you want. I'm suspecting that whatever these entities are, whether they're elites or whatever, they don't want us to have XRP. So I think they're going to basically try to shake the coconuts out of the tree. And we're seeing that right now. Even as I live and breathe, you know, XRP is, for better or worse, not been doing great the past year. Since July, it's only been going down. And this is in spite of us getting good news all the time. We're hearing almost on a weekly basis developments for XRP. So why would the price be going down? I suspect that the whole idea is that this is a large demoralization campaign to try to scare retail away from XRP and to get people that are holding to feel demoralized enough to make a swap or to get out of XRP. And once, whether the elites or the banks or institutions, whatever you want to call them, once they think they've achieved critical mass, that's when they will essentially pump XRP to prices that either you get priced out of being able to even own a token, or they just make it very difficult to purchase, which could also happen in the scheme of limiting their availability on exchanges, like delisting. This plan would backfire, however, if people like you and I, we just hold the line no matter what. I mean, let's say things got really bad for XRP and it went down to like 30 cents. I'm just saying, I'm just trying to picture a scenario that would probably crush all of our souls. If XRP were to go down to 30 cents, how many people do you think would say, forget it, I'm done, I'm cashing out what I have, and I'm taking off? There might be some people, but I was really thinking about this last night, and there actually might not be. I know that people here on this channel would be buying. If XRP was 30 cents tomorrow, I can almost guarantee at least half of us here in this live stream would go to whatever exchange we use and buy bucketfuls of XRP. So if the institutions do crash this token, it almost becomes like a cultural war. The people versus the elites, and it's the war would be who controls the XRP token. And so I'm really fascinated by this whole idea, and I don't know where things are going to go. But if it did play out in that direction, we might be looking at a very long timeline for XRP's price appreciation. But then on the counter argument to that was then this would be the number one way that you could actually do battle against the elites. I know that some people are more up to date on what that means than others, and I don't want to necessarily go down that rabbit hole too deeply. But if you are aware, there's been a banking cartel that's for the most part been in control of global finance for at least the past 150 years. Some people might make the argument it goes back even further than that, but especially with the development of the airplane and being able to get from continent to continent, these powerful bankers have had kind of a stranglehold on essentially the entire world. There's only a few countries in the world left that are not part of the centralized banking system. One of them is probably going to get bombed in the next 36 hours. Iran. Venezuela was another one. Libya was one. You know, it's Iraq back in 2001 was another one of them. So you can see how historically things have played out. If you resist the banks, eventually the barking dog of the bank owners will come to topple that country. And that's kind of where I'm going with that. Don't want to necessarily sit on that topic for too long. But to bring that back to what I was saying, if you're someone who's sickened by that kind of behavior in the global political drama, in a weird way, hoarding XRP so that the elites can't use it yet is in a very strange way fighting back against the system. And so I kind of see this having a parallel to GameStop. And this is the GameStop chart. Not that the chart matters, but this little spot right here, nobody would sell their GameStop, and the short traders could not capitalize on their position. And so even though GameStop went from like, I don't want to say it was $4 to 80 almost overnight, you can see that for a very long time it held on to its price. And if you were part of the culture back then, this was like a hold on for dear life, do not sell so that you can stick it to the banks type thing. And I'm wondering if we might see a rerun of that with XRP. It's been a while since I looked at the chat, so let me keep up with what you guys are talking about, and then we'll get back to it. So, Rated Russian, glad to see you. I know you had a question here. It looks like someone might have gotten it before I could read it. I'm just looking at the chat now. Rated Russian says, hey, Andrew, when people talk about exchange places, are they talking about Robinhood, Kraken, and such? Yeah, I would say so. At least for crypto. Silver would be coming from a different place. I got some even further up questions I'm going to kind of hit on. Forbidden Planet says, if you want to see the banks who have been shorting silver big time, take a look at banks ranked by derivatives. Ooh, now that's interesting. Silver is just front running what will be happening to crypto soon. Well, I hope that you are correct about that. Sometimes it can be tough to tell which way the wind is blowing. It feels like it's blowing in two different directions at all times. It keeps things exciting, I suppose. He goes on to say they need silver in just about every electronic device. Some businesses are going straight to the mines to buy. Very interesting. I have been looking at a lot of the EV batteries for silver. I think that if silver's price gets too crazy, though, it's going to make the cost of manufacturing not very profitable. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. Steph says Amazon even bought a silver mine, which shows the big need for it. Okay, so you guys are basically having conversations together. I'm going to look for questions here. Here we go. Ryan Dog says, which cold wallet do you prefer? I'm nervous about moving it off, but I know I need to. No better time to answer that question than now. I use Decent. This is my Decent wallet. I pulled this bad boy out specifically for the tip jar. You guys were asking on stream yesterday that I start this tip jar, so I'm going to unshare my screen for a quick second. I'll be honest, I feel a little strange about the whole thing, but I know if in a weird way, some of you guys are looking out for me more than I look out for myself sometimes, but the XRP tip jar is a cool idea. This would be completely optional, but you can see there's, maybe you can't see. It depends if it, there we go. There's nothing in it yet. So I started this XRP tip jar literally today, but I do recommend the Decent cold wallet in general. I have a video if you want to know how to set one up. And then full disclosure, I am a Decent affiliate partner. Nothing crazy there. You can sign up to become one. It's not like they reached out to me. But this is my Decent cold wallet. We can power it on. Very easy. You just hit the power button. You have to wait a couple seconds. Put my biometrics fingerprint reader in. And boom, there we go. Let me see if the autofocus will pick that up. So this thing works really, oh, wait, is it picking it up? Yeah, there we go. This thing works really well. Very intuitive to use. There's not many buttons. You don't really need to do anything with this device itself. So let's see, is this thing ever gonna get the focus right? There we go. So you can see I only have XRP and Hedera on this one right now. But basically how it would work is you go on your cell phone, you do any transaction you want to do, whatever it is. There's going to be a confirmation button that comes on your cold wallet. So nothing's going out of your cold wallet without you physically hitting the confirm button on this. And then it's going to ask you for your biometric scanner. You only need your seed phrase if you lose this. You lose this, you need your seed phrase to reboot your wallet. Aside from that, I think this goes without saying. Don't lose your seed phrase and don't let anyone find it. Once you get into the self-custody game, part of the it's a double-edged sword. You get heightened security, but it comes at a cost. If you lose your seed phrase or if someone steals it, no one can help you. So make sure that you fully understand what it is you're getting before you move everything to a cold wallet. But it's no different really than, I mean, if someone broke in your house and stole all of your silver coins, or, you know, God forbid they stole your firearms, it's the same problem, I suppose. If you do go the cold wallet route, don't be like me and tell people that you're into crypto. I'm kind of putting my neck on the line here, even by doing this channel. But I wanted to do it, and so I decided up front that I was going to have to be okay with that. But once you get into the game, just hide your wallet. Don't tell people you have one. It's not something you'll have to worry about. As far as the seed phrase goes, if you can memorize your seed phrase, that's going to go a long way. You could write it down and just memorize it like it's a spelling bee, or like you did back in elementary school where you'd have to write words down on like a test. You just, if it's 24 words, say it to yourself out loud, do it in blocks. Like, I'm just going to do the first 4 words today. Memorize those, get that down. Then you add, okay, now I'm going to do words 5 through 8. Memorize those, get it down. And then eventually you could get all 24 words memorized. And if you wanted to, you could destroy your sheet of paper, and then your cold wallet would be 100% safe for the rest of your life, so long as you don't get amnesia or forget it. But that's a lot of responsibility. So if it's something you want to do, just make sure that you've really thought it through. One thing I gotta mention. There's 36 of you in here today. If you could do me a favor and just like the stream, we're only at 18 likes today. If we could at least bump that up to 25, that goes a long way at helping people out there find this live stream. Here, Rated Russian has a very good question that we definitely need to address. Does Best Buy sell cold wallets? Because I don't trust Amazon. That's very good. You should never. All right, let me really emphasize this, and maybe some of you guys in the chat already got to it, but I'll make sure to say it. Never, under any circumstance, buy an aftermarket cold wallet. Never buy a cold wallet on eBay. Never buy a cold wallet on Amazon. And make sure that when you do get your cold wallet, it'll come with a seal. You can see my box still has it on that. If the seal's been broken, do not do anything with that wallet. You would only ever want to buy a wallet directly from the manufacturer, have it shipped directly to your house. Never buy any, I don't care if Amazon's selling them for 20 bucks. Never do anything through Amazon, eBay, Temu, or any other online retail. Just go straight to the manufacturer. If you guys want, I can link my Descent link. It's up to you guys. It does help me, but it won't make it cheaper on your end or anything like that, but I would get an affiliate commission. Again, totally up to you guys. I'm going to get that link real fast, and then I'll link it in the chat if you guys want it. Still figuring out, it's kind of strange, this whole monetizing a channel kind of thing. It's a whole different animal. I still have to kind of teach myself to get comfortable with it. 'Cause I'm not much of a salesy guy. I don't really like selling things. Let's see here. Let me catch up to the chats. Durrell says, honestly, I think retail and a few whales are the ones holding up XRP. There's probably some truth to that. I think there's some big events coming. Silver is in front of all of it, and when the dam breaks, watch out and prepare to see your wealth go up manyfold. I do agree. I think no matter what, XRP will go to crazy prices. It's just not moving on the timeline that we all wanted it to. Durrell goes on to say, conspiracy on Venezuela, was Maduro holding billions in Bitcoin along with oil, and was it taken from him? Well, I think could definitely be a lot of that going on, and whatever they took from him, I mean, they definitely took the oil. We know that. I think we probably took a lot of silver and gold as well. I've heard stories from people saying that, and I don't want to share who's saying what, but I have heard stories from people that were in the Marine Corps that when they were in Afghanistan, they found literally vaults of gold buried in the sand. So, it's just kind of telling, that the truth is in the details. Steph says the Venezuelan president was arrested for having a bad mustache. That's funny. I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram, but every once in a while I'll repost memes that I think are hilarious. And I saw an anime style meme of Trump and Maduro having like a Dragon Ball Z style fight. And Maduro looked real funny in that one. Moto Joy says, how important is it for tokens to be ISO compliant? Sol, Ethan are not compliant, but XRP and Flare are. Great question. So think about ISO as kind of like being a rule set. So to put this as easy as possible, if you want to use FedEx or UPS, you have to have a shipping label, right? Like you can't just show up to FedEx and say, here, I've got this box, send it out for me. You need to fill out the shipping label, and there's things that have to be on there, like the weight of the package, who's sending it, where's it going to, things like that. So what ISO does is it's a rule set for compliance so that all of these different banks are able to communicate with each other, and they follow a certain protocol. So ISO is essentially the new version of Swift. I know it's not exactly replacing Swift. It's more going to be an integration. And maybe another way I could put this is like, I don't know if any of you guys work in databasing, but my professional career was in databasing. And for the past decade, the whole thing was we're moving from physical data centers with like server rooms to cloud-based computing. And so imagine Swift is migrating to like the cloud computing version of that. I guess that's like kind of an easy way to explain it. A little bit different, but like layman's term style things. ISO essentially is the rule set that allows you to send digital currencies in the modern era. And if you're not ISO compliant, those banks simply cannot or will not use your token for financial transactions. So that's where it comes into play. It's not like because ETH is not ISO compliant doesn't mean I can't send you ETH, doesn't mean you can't send me ETH. But it means that a big bank like JP Morgan or Wells Fargo, they're not going to be sending ETH to anyone because ETH isn't ISO compliant. So right now there's only 15 tokens that are like that. And that's why I'm a very firm believer that the ISO tokens are going to outperform all of the ones that are not ISO. And it doesn't mean that tokens can't get there. It just means that the developers will have to enhance and upgrade those tokens and those blockchains to be able to do that. Black Gold says he's got his wallet hidden away and only one family member knows where. Just make sure you guys don't ever get in a fight. Forbidden Planet asked about Best Buy. I've never even tried to see if Best Buy has cold wallets. It's possible they do. I've never, I don't know. I've never seen them at Best Buy. I've never looked for them there either. I would just buy straight from the manufacturer. That's the easiest way to do it. That's the least amount of risk is when you're going straight from the manufacturer and have it mailed straight to your doorstep. And then Darrell goes on to say, don't buy Ellipel or Ledger. Yeah, Ledger had a data breach, so hate to say it, but you even miss a single, sorry, not miss. You screw up a single time. When you're a security company, even just one mistake kind of ruins your reputation. And I hate to put it that way, but that is what it is. So I personally wouldn't go with Ledger at this time. Forbidden Planet says, on Ledger, you cannot buy or sell unless you hold down for transaction on your device. You cannot transfer unless you hold down on the device you have. Not sure what that means. I guess that could probably be the same thing as like on Descent. If I want to send something, there's a button that will have to confirm the transaction. So maybe that's what he's saying. But Black Gold says Tangent is great. So I think Tangent, Descent, probably the two most popular. There's one other one, but I keep forgetting what it is. It's not Ledger. Let me Google top cold wallet brands. Once I see it, I'll know it. Oh, let me share my screen again. By the way, I forgot that I stopped doing that. There we go. Trezor. I knew there was one I was brain farting on. If you go with Trezor, Tangem, Descent is also very good. I've never had an Arculus, but I know that some people have, and all the name brand ones are gonna do well. Just make sure that you buy it straight from the manufacturer, and you'll be good. Have you given any thought to XEP Electra Protocol? I think I saw that on the ISO list. Let's go take a look real quick. I think I saw that. Yep, there it is. Electra Protocol. I don't know anything about this one aside from the fact that it's on this list. Very interesting that its market cap is only 3.6 million. So this is the kind of thing that tells me if you really wanted a very deep play and you wanted to, you're looking for a coin that has some maximum runway for growth, these small market cap coins are the ones that are going to do that because it takes less capital to double it. That said, I don't actually know anything about this coin, so I can't go one way or the other on it, but it is an ISO compliant token, which would give it, you know, I would say that alone means that there's good reason to at least put it on the watch list, but I probably won't be buying it right now just because there's too many other tokens I'm looking at. Wine says, good morning from Norway. Thoughts on Canton? We covered Canton a little bit earlier. I know there's people that like it, but I just don't trust bankers. I hate to say it, but I don't trust JP Morgan to not find some way to weasel you out of what could be a good thing. And I'm not making accusations or anything like that. I'm just saying that from purely a conjecture standpoint, that it feels off to me. That's all I can say about it. And so that doesn't mean that I'm right. It doesn't mean that this isn't a bad investment. It's just I get a gut feeling that you might be able to buy Canton, but you're never going to be on the Canton team, if that makes sense. It's not like XRP where you're holding the actual token. From what I understand, there's no self-custody with Canton. And for me, that's going to make it a deal breaker. Forbidden Planet, I hate when you put something on a cold wallet and cannot swap it. You want to swap on your cold wallet in case major things happen in the market. I do believe Descent has swaps. I've got my Descent out right now. So I could actually probably, yeah, here it is. Let me drop the screen share to make this look better. So no problem showing you guys this. There's zero XRP in it after all. You can see where my thumb is. So over there, man, it's not focusing very well. There we go. And the bottom right, it says swap. So at least on Descent, you can swap your tokens. By the way, for people who have been joining midway through, this is totally optional, but you guys did ask that I open up a tip jar. Don't feel pressured to contribute to it, but if it's something you wanted to do, I did pin it. And then maybe at some point I'll put the QR code scanner as like a scannable picture or something like that. I do have this. I'll just show it to you guys. I do have this here. Why isn't it opening? Open, you piece of shit. I just want you to open. What's going on with you? Well, under normal circumstances, when I click on the image, it would open. But you know how it is when you're streaming. That's when things stop working. Come on, you piece of shit. There we go. F word. Whew, here we go. So at some point I'll probably do something with this, but if you didn't want to do the manual entry of the address, because I know that's kind of a pain in the ass to do, there's the QR code. Anyways, so we don't have to linger on that. I'll leave that up to you guys. If you wanted to donate, it's there. And that's about all I'll say on that for now. ZB. Yeah, so this one we covered a little bit earlier on the stream as well. If it's part of the ISO list, I would say it's a good investment. This is, oh, Josh says if you work a 9 to 5. Could you elaborate on that, on what that means? But one thing about ZBEC or ZBIC or whatever it's called, it is part of the ISO token list. So if I go back, in case for some of the people that just joined midway through, we can get to that by going to this more column. By the way, I did a video on this last night in case you, if you get lost, you can always go back to there. ZBIC is officially on that list. So I would say that alone puts it in a good spot for, if you wanted to buy this one, that's a good one to buy. Not financial advice, but right now I would say if I'm buying every token, I'd probably spread myself thin. So I'm probably not going to buy it, but definitely something for you guys to be looking at if you want to build out more of an ISO focused portfolio. In general, if you guys want the ultimate cheat sheet, we could start our own AUM and just buy all 15 of these and tell people we're geniuses someday and say, hey, I've got the best portfolio, ETF, whatever you want to call it. This is the one. And people will be like, wow, how did you know about all this stuff? And that's when we got to keep a tight lips, guys. You can't let people know about this ISO cheat sheet here. And definitely don't look at the video I posted about it yesterday. That's a joke. Okay, Josh says, if you work a 9 to 5, you receive a payout in ZBIC and earn passive yield. Now, how does that work out? I'm curious if you could elaborate more on that. That could be something that I'll look further into. Moto, great question. Any thoughts on Firelight and how to use the Firelight points? Is this something worth looking into? 100%. So, unfortunately, let me close some of my tabs so that my screen's not all full of stuff here. Unfortunately, the Firelight vaults are full. It seems like it's not really moving as fast as we want. I don't want to connect my wallet right now because it would put my wallet address. And even though I do have that tip jar, the tip jar is one thing, but having my actual regular wallets on here is something I don't necessarily want to share. But I do have, I think, about 600,000 Firelight points. I've got about, I think it's 600 XRP tokens in it. I'd have to open it up and look. But this is the end game for me. It's taken longer for us to see where this is going to go than I'd like. There hasn't really been a lot of news on Firelight since it went live. If you check the Twitter space, there's always tweets, but they don't give you news. It's like hype tweets, which is cool, I guess. But, I want the news. I want to know when phase 2 goes live. I want to know what the reward points are going to do. And right now, I know as little about that as anybody else. So all I can really say is, I'm holding my Firelight. I think it's the future. It's something that I'm very, very excited for, but I haven't. I guess I don't have a straight answer for that yet. Aside from the fact that as soon as we know, I'll cover that for sure. Looks like there's some big movement here. I want to make sure I catch everyone's comments. Dean says to Forbidden Planet, I haven't tried it, but it was on my understanding that you can swap from one token to another without having an exchange transaction. I've never experimented with that, Dean, but it seems like it would make sense. Maybe what it does is, again, I haven't tried it yet. Maybe that's something I could experiment with. But it probably connects you with an exchange to be able to pull that off. Or, yeah, I guess I don't really know. I'd have to look into it. Baller says, I have lost crypto on 3 occasions. I'm sorry to hear that. While to transfer to cold wallet and or institutional custody account, I contribute it to me being careless and doing a bunch of transfers one after another. Something I want to say, because we're talking about this, this is really important because this is a trick that gets a lot of people. It hasn't gotten me yet, but I have seen horror stories online. So when I'm going to unshare my screen so that we can do some. So I'm going to show you guys Decent, and this wallet doesn't have anything on it, but it does have some HBAR, so I can show my screen here. Do you guys see how I have like a transaction history? Maybe it's, there we go. Now it should be in focus. I got messed up fingernails, by the way. So you see how it says receive, 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 receive. What can happen is someone can go to the HBAR ledger. They can go to the XRP ledger and they'll look for recent transactions that happened quite literally like a millisecond ago. And that'll tell them that that person's actively on their wallet. So they don't know who you are, but they know that your wallet's open, that you're using it. They'll see what your wallet address is, and then they'll very rapidly open up a wallet. And I don't know how they do it, but they're able to choose their wallet address. And they'll pick something that has the beginning of your wallet and the end of your wallet, but then the characters in the middle might be slightly different. And what they'll do is they'll send you a minuscule amount of tokens, hoping that you won't notice there's a very small thing. Maybe you think it's a gas fee. Maybe who knows? You probably don't think anything of it. Well, the next time you go to send, if you're going into your transaction history and choosing the most recent wallet, you're going to see the spoof account, but you're not going to see the middle characters. And so anytime, no matter how annoying it is to do, anytime you transfer funds, you should always copy and paste the wallet to and from your exchange to your wallet or from wallet to wallet. Never go by transaction history, because that's how you can end up, I mean, God forbid, let's say you were trying to send your entire portfolio over. You could end up sending some scammer 100% of your tokens if you were moving and that's another thing. Never move your entire wallet at the same time. You have the ability to do it in sections. So let's just say you had 100,000 XRP. Never send a 100,000 XRP transaction. There's no reason you couldn't just break it up into chunks. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. Once you see 3 of them go through, okay, now we'll do 5,000, 5,000, 5,000. That way you just limit your problems that way. Because let's say one of those things, God forbid, didn't go through for some reason, you screwed it up. Then you're out 1,000 XRP. That sucks, but you'd still have the other 99,000, assuming you had that much XRP. And if you did, that'd be pretty awesome here in the near future. Now, Baller says, do small test transfers. Sometimes takes 10 to 15 minutes. With XRP, I get mine through in about 20. But that is true for some coins like Bitcoin and Ethereum. That can take a lot longer to transfer. So just be careful, you guys. You know, I actually screwed up once. This is I'll be the first to admit I made this mistake before. By the way, if you're just joining, make sure to like the stream. We're at 29 likes. So you guys can help me get to that 30. That'd be awesome. But you need to have a memo when you send coins to Coinbase or Kraken or whatever. You don't need a memo sending to your wallet. What the memo is, it tells Coinbase or Kraken or whoever you're holding with who you are. Because when you transfer money to a Coinbase wallet, that's not actually your wallet, it's Coinbase's wallet. So if you send Coinbase 10 XRP and you don't put a memo on it, Coinbase is just going to get 10 XRP for free. Since they don't have who you are, they don't know where that XRP came from. And maybe some exchanges would go through the customer support levels to help fix that, but in general, they don't usually do that. So those coins would just be gone. So make sure anytime you send to an exchange, you must have the memo filled out, because that memo will tell them who you are. I wanted to get that one through because I think I only lost like 2 XRP from that. But it was still like, damn it. Black says, one-click XRP FLR is coming multiple platforms, definitely for Xamin, so keep an eye out for that. And then Josh says, basically the ZBEX Super app is supposed to give you 5% yield whenever you deposit your 9 to 5 income into the token. It's a hypothetical situation. Also, ZBEX yields are super nice, about 6%. That is actually pretty good. I'll look into that. I'll look into it. I don't know if I'm going to buy any right now, but I'll definitely look into that. And then Durrell says, always check your wallet addresses and make sure they match. Iman says it's called a tag. And then I love having Tangent and Ledger. One does not have the coin, it seems like the other does. And then Iman has sent wrap Flare before, forgot to unwrap it. Yeah, that sucks. 1964, good to see you drop in. We'll be here basically every day, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So happy to see you. By the way, I do have an appointment at 12:30. It's nothing crazy, but it does mean I'll have to end the stream probably around 12:25 so that I can kind of get ready for that. So we got about 10 minutes. I want to see if let's just do an overall, hit the charts real fast, see if anything's moved. Gold still hanging out at just shy of $5,100. And that's actually pretty good. Gold did not sell off like silver did, so interesting thing to look at. The silver sell-off, kind of to be expected. You know, you don't just go up 20% without coming back down. Let me close some of these tabs. I think I might have closed the silver tab, but we'll look at silver one more time. Silver's still at 107. You know, I wouldn't be too worried about it yet. This is very expected, normal behavior to go. Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. Oh. Okay, well, I guess I need to have the screen shared for you guys to see this stuff. So let's start that over again. So gold here, just shy of $5,100. Silver, looking at roughly around $107, down from its all-time high yesterday of about 117. Profits are to be expected. Japanese 10-year government bond running a little flat right now. The opportunist in me kind of wants this to keep going up, but bear in mind this will be bad for people that are not invested in precious metals or crypto. So silver lining there. Maybe it's okay for this to take a little bit longer. And then let's see, Japanese interest rates. This would be the entire country. We're continuing to see this thing rise. So we'll just keep an eye on this. This is an interesting one to look at because it's the total economy, not just any individual bond. We'll see if this thing hits 1. If it does, it's just all more indicators that something is coming. And then I want to quickly jump over to Twitter and see. We won't spend too long on it because I do got to wrap up here soon, but I want to see what's going on over there in Iran, because if we end up bombing Iran, that could oh wow. Oh, I didn't know about this. I don't know if we're gonna necessarily go down this too much. I don't know if I want to necessarily put some of this kind of footage in here. I might watch this offline. I don't know if I'd share it on the stream, but I'm gonna save this just to come back to it later. There was one tweet I saved I wanted to really briefly cover. I've been saying on this channel, let me get this video is hilarious, by the way, but I won't share it here because it's got some indecent exposure to sorority girls or bachelorette girls fighting in the street, so you can kind of imagine how that plays out. But this tweet by David Schwartz. So there was a plane crash. He made a joke. Looks like they were killed by ICE. I've been saying it on the channel since this thing started, but this whole Minneapolis thing is very polarizing. You're either on this side or on that side. I try to be as neutral as I can because of stuff like this. Some of the people that are into crypto are on the left. A lot of you guys are on the right. I kind of can see where the consensus is just by reading the chats, but I try to stay as neutral as I can. But to have this coming from David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple, so everybody's throwing their hat in on something like this. I think things are going to get a lot worse. I don't think we've seen anywhere close to the end of the Minneapolis problem, and I see it spilling out into other cities across the country as well. So try to take all this stuff with a grain of salt. I know that we all probably have our own opinions, but the last thing that we want is a total societal collapse, because then things get really bad. And I feel like this is the kind of thing that gets worse when it's warm out. We're seeing these riots in the middle of, it's like -20 in Minneapolis right now. I wonder what that would look like if it was 80 degrees in the summertime. We all know that the heat makes you angrier, and you don't need to go back inside to warm up, so you're able to be in the streets all night. I just wonder if we're going back to civil unrest. So, not that I don't think that you guys watching this channel would participate in all this, but it's one of those things where you're trying to drive to the airport or something, and then sure enough, there's 500 people in the street at the exit you're trying to get to, and you're trying to get on your plane, and then not only do you miss your flight, but now some of these guys are crazy and they're ripping you out of your car. You just don't know. So that's why I try to cover this stuff a little bit. Ben sends, when are we going to do a 24-hour stream? Oh, that was from yesterday's live stream. My bad. I forgot to close the screen on that one. So anyways, yeah, this is just one of those things. Everyone's throwing their hat in, even possibly Bearable Guy. I don't know. Maybe is he Bearable Guy? We'll find out someday. But some people think he might even be Satoshi. But I thought this was a interesting thing for him to post. I usually don't try to throw my hat in on stuff like this too much. I certainly could, but I always feel like from a reputational standpoint, it just invites problems that you wouldn't otherwise need to have. Okay, so Millpower says, how do you copy? Are you not able to highlight it? Because I guess I don't know what you guys see. I can also do this. I'll try to get this thing baked out a little bit better for the next stream, but where's that stupid ass download button? If you guys want, there's also this QR code. I'll probably find some way to make this more than just a screenshot. But if you do want to support the channel, this is my XRP wallet. Let me move the mouse out of the way. So maybe I'll throw this into a photo editor and make it a little blurb that hangs out in the bottom right corner of the stream or something like that. But I'll have to flesh that out because it's not as intuitive as you guys might think, but I'll do what I can to get this worked out. And then this is the tip jar. I got my phone out. You can see this is a brand new wallet. Just calling it my YouTube wallet. It's only got 0 XRP in it right now. So nothing crazy going on here. But I was thinking we can make this a fun little game. You know, if you guys, it's up to you guys. If you throw in some XRP, we can make a game out of it and like see like how big can this channel get kind of thing. I know there's only about 35 of you in here right now, but you know, who knows where this could be a year or two from now. Forbidden Planet, I love that comment, man. So yeah, none of this is financial advice. I may or may not do a few of the things that Forbidden Planet does, but I won't say which ones. But I don't gamble. I might have brain damage. I had a concussion snowboarding once and never been the same. Okay, so let's just try this, Mill. I'm going to copy and paste. There's the address. If you need to, you can cross-reference that with this right here. I don't know if there's an easy way for me to take a screen. I don't think I can screenshot this and post it in the chat, but if you want to cross-reference that, I can just leave this screen up for a second while you do that. I'll greatly appreciate that, by the way. You guys help me keep this thing running, so I hope you guys know that it doesn't go unnoticed. Let's see if I can keep this thing open while I do go back to Twitter. I can get you the wallet address. We can figure that out. Yeah, I can just do it right now. I'll make something that's shareable. I like Dean's idea. I'll probably I will probably make a post, or I'll get something so it's not just a complete shit show. Sorry for my language. I'm gonna get that. So I'm trying to juggle a bunch of different things here. Crypto Hulk always says something like that when it's a disclaimer. Man, the disclaimers do get kind of annoying, don't they? I was talking with one of you guys on the channel about this. Shouldn't people that are financial advisors be the only ones that have to make those statements, and the rest of us are just people, right? Like, why do I have to tell people I'm not a financial advisor? Wouldn't it make more sense that someone who is a financial advisor has to make that kind of announcement? But Oh, you only have to get sued once. You get sued once and they ruin your whole thing. And that's just the way it goes in this country. I do have a hard cutoff at 12:30, so I could probably answer one or two more questions, kind of wrap things up one way or another. So let me just start closing out some of these folders. I'll find some ways to make this workable. The first step was creating the YouTube wallet, and the second step will be getting it so that it's not a freaking PNG file. Very frustrating to use. Maybe I'll just go to Canva and just make it right now. If you guys want a little peek behind the curtain, this is how I make my thumbnails. So I just, yeah, that kind of works, right? Ooh, should I throw my logo in this thing too? It's in here somewhere. I used to make keto content, you guys, so you can see all my keto stuff, my bacon. I'm not a keto guy anymore. All right, where's my freaking logo when I need it? Come on, dude. Oh my gosh, you're killing me. Just show me my logo. I know it's in here. Oh, nice looking ladies. All right. Maybe I'll go back to the brand thing. Yeah, there it is. Man, that was a pain in the fucking ass, dude. Yeah. All right, now we're cooking. Okay, now I make this thing black. Okay. Now we're cooking, dude. Oh, but it doesn't have the fucking... Oh my god. Fucking A, dude. All right, here's what we'll do. All right, we'll copy this bad boy. Paste. Yeah. Thanks for hanging in there with me, boys. I know this is kind of stupid that I'm doing this. All right, here we go. Okay, that's fine. And then, yeah, it's fine. Fuck it. Oh, I'm not really supposed to swear on this channel. Whatever. All right. Now what we do, we save this as a JPEG, and then now I at least don't have to... What the hell? Oh, I just downloaded it like 50 times. I'm under a lot of pressure, you guys. There we go. Okay, we got this thing. It's ready for the next stream. Thanks for hanging in there with me while I made this thing. Now let's see if I'm streaming. If I just, let's say I go back to here. Now I can do... This is some real peek behind the curtain kind of stuff. Oh, but it's going to be so small, you're not going to be able to even read it. I don't know. I'll figure this thing out when I don't have people watching me. How about that? But there's at least a concept of this thing working. So, oh, you know what we could do? If you guys just want to rock with me for a second, we could do display capture, tip jar. Okay. Oh wait, not display capture. I want to do window capture. Sorry, my bad. So we do window capture. There we go. There we go. Tip jar. And then, oh, I think we're cooking here. This actually might work. Oh, you guys, I'm cooking with gas now. Oh, as soon as my phone starts ringing, by the way, I'm going to have to literally end the stream, but they haven't called yet, so. And then we drag that thing there. Oh man, that actually could work, you guys. This actually might work. Let's see. Just put a pre-recorded video. You're gonna cuss and not financial advice. All right, guys. That was some peek behind the curtain stuff. So I don't know. We'll see if I keep this thing up or not. But at least if you guys wanted to use the tip jar, there it is. Now with that, I think I am gonna wrap this up because I'm probably gonna get a phone call any minute now. Let me just get one last comment reading here. I didn't know they could do virtual proctology exams. Good with your appointment. Very funny. I don't actually know what proctology is, so joke's on you. I don't even get the joke. What is that? I'm gonna have to look it up now. Okay, I get you. Well, takes one to know one, buddy. So we're gonna wrap this up before I get my phone call here. Thanks everyone for hopping in. Thanks, Mill, if you're able to get that thing working. Let me refresh my screen here. Thank you, buddy. I did, in fact, get it. I'll keep it confidential, but I appreciate you. You guys don't know how much this means to me. So, maybe one day we'll have like a scoreboard we keep on screen or something like that. Yeah, of course, Dean, dude. I'm trust me. I play hockey twice a week. I can handle a little bit of trash talk. Ain't no problem with me. But yeah, I definitely got to wrap this thing up or else I'm going to get myself in trouble here. So thanks for hopping in the stream. If you guys are somehow not subscribed already, I think most of you guys probably are. Make sure to be subscribed. Make sure to like these streams as I do them. It helps things grow. And then keep an eye out for more pre-recorded content. It seems like the ISO one did pretty good, so happy about that. And yeah, I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow. Hopefully if this Senate vote goes through at 3 o'clock. I don't know. It's a rumor. I don't know if it's true or not. We'll just have to see what happens. Anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care.